Hi, I'm Brandon, and today we're taking another look at William Rowell. So let's jump into this and see what was going on with him before the sting. It says, at the time of the sting, Rowell was a 36-year-old service tech operator for slot machines and a diabetic alcoholic living in a motel room. So it seems like he's got a good thing going. He had an ex-wife and stepdaughter. He began an online chat with who he believed was an underage girl named Brooke. In a very graphic and groom-heavy chat, Rowell claimed he was a virgin. I wonder if he actually was. The guy's disgusting, so I can't see him being all that popular with the ladies, but still being 36, it's kind of odd, but it's also just it could be part of his grooming process. He claimed that he wanted to hold the girl as well as do other stuff to her. During one of his phone calls where he awkwardly discusses his desires for being in a relationship, he described what Dateline is to the decoy. He described it as setting them up with a model to tell them to come inside, with Dateline reporting and Hansen interviewing the men. There's a little more to it than that. They don't just have a model come out and see guys walking down the street and say, "Come on in." These are guys that purposely reached out to the decoy. They made the initial move. They made the initial conversation. They brought up all the inappropriate stuff, and they drove over to the house. So even by the time people that trash talk the show, they always try to make it look like these guys are tricked. Like the guys do nothing on their end to do anything illegal. By the time the guys show up at the house, they've already broken the law. They're not just inviting random people, "Hey, come on in," and then tackling them and arresting them for no reason. That's not how it works. Rowell continued that after these men leave the house, after talking to Hansen, 15 cops come out of the woodworks. Yeah, that's not how it works. Rowell had numerous other phone calls, during one of which he awkwardly professed to enjoy using toys in his relationship. Before Rowell arrived at the Sting house, footage from a gas station showed he stopped to buy a box of condoms, and then he showed up, ironically driving a white van. Like, if you're going to be a huge creep, don't also drive a white van. It just makes you look worse. Anyways, let's head over to the Sting house and see what happens when William Rowell shows up.
This next man heading into the house just made a stop at a gas station down the road. As you can see from this security camera video, he bought condoms before coming
Why is he holding them up like that?
Over to meet
He's like posing for the camera.
a girl he thinks is a 30-year-old virgin.
Like, just look at this guy. He's like driving a white van. He's just like a chubby, balding guy. Like, he's just like, he has that stereotypical predator look.
I'm just finishing getting ready.
You didn't have to take a shower.
Well,
And like, why did he say that so aggressively? Like, he's here to meet this person. Like, he couldn't just like have friendly, fun kind of banter. I mean, he shouldn't be there to begin with. I'll make that clear. But why would he have to be angry? And yeah, people should shower before a date. That's kind of normal behavior. He's like, you didn't have to take a shower. Ugh. And look at his face. He's just like so mad. Ugh.
You didn't have to take a shower.
well,
He's 37
Yeah, way to be nice and friendly and chill when you're meeting a person for the first time there, William.
7-year-old William Rowell, a service tech for coin-operated machines.
And don't forget, he's a diabetic alcoholic living in a motel room.
Also known as Baron Wolfsfur, he's talking to a decoy named Sassy Little Lady. He
That's quite the screen name.
tells the girl, "You know that I really want to make love to you, but I want to hold you close to me." The decoy says, "I want that too." Later, using a different screen name, Wolf
And this guy never just looked in the mirror and thought about this. And he's like, why would a young girl or any girl or woman of any age possibly be interested in me? It just never seemed to him that this is unlikely to happen.
Night 30, he tells the decoy he's worried because of the Dateline shows of late. The decoy, responding like a 30-year-old, says, "What's Dateline?" She pretends not to know about the show to see if a man apparently aware of our investigation would still take the risk and show up.
They do. We just had a guy on the new Takedown episodes with Chris Hansen that I cover on my Patreon channel. We had a guy who was watching Takedown with Chris Hansen as he was driving to the Sting house and got caught on that exact show that he was watching. These guys are so unbelievably stupid. I bet you, like, if Chris was like hitchhiking and flagged them down and was like, "Hey, I'm just on the way to the Sting house," and it was like the same address they were going, they'd probably still go. They'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to that address too to meet someone. Yeah, you want to ride?" Like, there's nothing that would stop them. These things are they're so obvious. There's so many red flags, and these guys just go anyway. They want it so bad. There is nothing that will deter them. Their brain will tell them any story they need, any justification, whatever they have to do, because all they want is to do this, and that is pretty damn scary.
He explains to her it's a show on NBC. They have been doing a lot of shows about internet predators, but that isn't enough to scare him away.
Where's Sheila at?
Come on in. Maybe just like 5 minutes to get ready. There's sweet tea if you want.
So back that up again.
To scare him away.
Where's Sheila at?
Come on in. Maybe just like 5 minutes to get ready. There's sweet tea if you want.
He just doesn't know the cops are just coming for him.
You don't have to drink it if you don't want it.
And I feel bad that they make the decoy like put on a towel. Like there's other ones that they just had her with like some laundry. Just they were just trying to like entice the you didn't have to take a shower line out of them.
What? I can't go to your room with you?
No, you can't. You can't, William Rowell. Because she's a young girl, and you're a disgusting, fat, bald, diabetic alcoholic who lives in a motel room and doesn't like people who shower. You're just gross. So no, you cannot go to her room.
Well, that ruined the surprise.
See, I wonder if he saw movement back there, because he's already leaving when Chris comes out.
Actually, I'd rather for you to come. Oh, sir. Sir, I need to talk to you a minute.
Nope.
I don't get the chance to speak with him or Todd West, the first man in the door, but the team from the Harris County Sheriff's Office will.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground now! Hands behind your back.
But Baron Wolfsford talks at length with Chief Rhett Wade and investigator Tony Knotts.
Who are you here to meet tonight?
Yeah, there's so many predators. I really wish they just would have had a chat with Chris Hansen to have that confrontation. In the newer takedowns, a lot of time they'll arrest the guy and then take him back into the house to talk with Chris. That's not as good as... I like it best when they don't know they're arrested yet. When they talk to Chris and then they leave and get arrested. Those are the best ones, but there's still entertainment value talking to him no matter what.
Brooke. Her name was Brooke.
How old is Brooke?
Brooke said she was 13.
Okay.
And then she take a shower before I got there.
Was my intention to have sex with her? No.
Buddy, we have your fucking chat. How could you say that was not your intentions?
Did you stop down here at the Chevron gas station and purchase condoms?
Yes.
So you said in your chat exactly what you were going to do to her, and then we have you on video buying condoms, and now you're going to sit here and say that was not your intention.
Right, but my intentions were because she asked me to bring condoms. I had the condoms just in case, but my intention...
Just in case what? If your intentions are not to do that, like, do I even have to explain this to you, William Rowell? I'm sick of it. I recorded like 3 of these commentaries today to get a little backlog done, and I'm sick of explaining it to you bastards. You're just lying.
were not to have sex.
We only buy condoms for one thing.
To have sex, no. So that's why I'm being charged with being a pedophile.
Well, you could see why, right? People might gather that impression, given what you did.
He's not being charged as a pedophile. That would be sex with a much younger child.
Yeah, I mean, technically, if we're, getting down to the actual definition of the word, but I think people generally use that for anyone who's interested in underage people. It's still wrong, despite what the exact word is.
Instead, he'll face criminal attempt to commit child.
I think you think me and
It's like, yeah, it's kind of the same thing.
Corporal Knotts here are acting like you come down here and try to have sex.
Yes.
This is not consenting, and that's not what we're talking about at all. We know good and well you wouldn't have forced yourself on Brooke.
Yeah, they always try to do that. Like, oh, you weren't going to force her. You weren't going to kidnap her. You weren't going to kill her. So the guy would be like, no, I was just going to do whatever. And it's like they're basically admitting guilt because what they planned to do was not as bad as what they could have done.
My intentions were not to have sex, but if the opportunity was there, then yeah. But
Buddy, that's a fucking yes. She's underage. There is no opportunity. These guys think that, okay, as long as you didn't intend to do it, as long as you were maybe going to do it, as long as it was a 50-50 kind of thing, then that's okay. No. You're not even allowed to drive to the house. You can't drive over to a minor's house with the possibility of maybe it would happen, maybe not. Like, no, we know exactly. There's no way that he would have not have initiated it. Like, maybe he would have forced her, maybe not. We don't know. And we have to arrest these assholes before we find out. Because them being alone with someone is hugely dangerous, especially when they're open to that possibility. Because the second he was there, he would have found any possible reason to justify it to himself to go through with it. And there's no one to stop him. There's no one else there. She's completely at his mercy. That's why they're called predators.
my intentions were not to go that route.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason I'm feel like I'm being tricked.
Oh, you feel like you're being mistreated and tricked, do you, William? Is that it? How, man, these guys are so delusional. They're just like unable to understand how their actions are wrong.
After the interview, Rowell is taken to the Harris County Jail.
Like, if every predator could get off the charges by saying that, you'd never be able to convict any of these guys. Because they could just grab a young girl off the street, drag them into their van, and when they get caught, be like, oh, I didn't intend to do anything. Oh, okay, as long as you didn't have any bad intentions. Like, no, just that you're not allowed to drive to their house or take them in your van, drive them off in your car without their parents knowing about it. Like, that is wrong. Everyone knows that's wrong. None of these predators are innocent. All right, well, let's head. Oh, here we got a all-star team right here, the usual suspects. Let's head back over to the wiki page and find out what happened to William Rowell after this. It says, William Rowell served 6 years in jail, was placed on probation, and was mandated to register as an offender for life. So 6 years, that's among the tougher sentences. So I'm glad he got a harsh sentence. 2024 update. In an episode of the podcast Predators I've Caught, Hansen mentioned how Rowell was rearrested a few years after the sting for a speeding ticket. He got arrested for a speeding ticket? How fast was he going? Resulting in his probation being extended until 2027. Rowell would later correct Hansen and claim it was only until 2026. It says, see below. Hansen attempted to call Rowell and played the audio with Rowell very bluntly telling Chris Hansen he had no use talking to him and that he ruined his life. No, Chris Hansen did not ruin your life. You ruined your own life because you attempted to ruin the life of a young girl. Much to Hansen's surprise, Rowell called Hansen back and the two spoke for a while. Rowell made an honest admittance that he made a mistake and partly understood why he was being punished even 15 years later. Yeah, he partly understood. He still criticized that there were reruns of the episode that caused him to lose jobs and job interviews over and over again as the years went on. He went on about how most of his actions were caused by his constant drinking and depression brought on by alcoholism. Drinking and or depression do not cause you to chat up a minor online and then buy condoms and drive to their house. In no way, shape, or form. The vast majority of alcoholics do not do this kind of thing. You would not do this kind of thing, drunk or not, unless you had a predisposition and an interest to do it. So you're lying, William Rowell. He revealed that he had been married since the sting, but was divorced because of the strict probation rules that meant his wife couldn't even have pictures of her daughter in the house they lived in. Good. Rowell mentioned how he got one of the stiffer sentences in the sting and attributed it to the judge's recent election, saying that Rowell was the first to plead guilty to his crimes. He also made the case that men like him who hadn't even actually harmed a real child were threatened in prison, proclaiming he had been threatened and gotten into a few fights while incarcerated. Yeah, it's almost like people don't like guys that do this. It's almost like people think this is wrong. How surprising. Rowell also mentioned how his family disowned him and said that life post-incarceration was more appropriate for a murderer in some ways compared to offenders. I'm trying to avoid certain words here that trigger YouTube, but we all know what kind of offenders I'm talking about. Still, Hansen reminded Rowell of his actions, although Rowell denied knowing that what he did was grooming. Yeah, it wasn't grooming him. It just came naturally to him. He switched back and forth between agreeing with Hansen and finding reasons why his treatment was unfair, suggesting that he had thoughts of self-harm sometimes and that people who are still thinking about doing what he did should immediately seek help. Rowell also mentioned how, since he is now unemployed, he will be arrested soon for violating his probation by not having a job and being forced to quit due to his diabetes. I think he's just making excuses. Like, people with diabetes still have jobs. At the end of the call, Rowell lightly boasts about how hard he worked before being forced to leave, admitting that he was about to be evicted and it had nothing to do with his evening. What? Admitting that he was about to be evicted and had nothing to do with his evening. Okay, I think that's just a typo. He made it clear he did not want to talk to Hansen again before being thanked for his time. So basically, his life has been a living hell ever since, and I think he deserves every second of that. On February 7th, 2024, Rowell was arrested for violating his probation by inappropriately texting an unknown woman on social media after an examination of his phone in August of 2023. He was sentenced to 1 year in prison. So he didn't even learn his after all that, he didn't even learn his lesson. As far as court records claim, none of the anonymous women Rowell spoke to were minors. Okay, so I guess he's talking to more age-appropriate women now, but he's still harassing them and breaking his probation. So these guys they just never ever learn. He just acts like he's the victim because his family left him. He has a hard time keeping a job, and people were mean to him in jail, and People despise people like this, and there are consequences for doing this kind of stuff. I don't think anyone feels sorry for them. All right, well, that's the end of the tale of William Rowell. Let me know if there's any other predators you want me to cover, and I'll try to do them. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.